If your money stops the moment you stop moving, you're not living. You're trapped in survival. Most people don't realize this until exhaustion becomes their native language. They wake up rushing, trade their energy for income all day, collapse at night, then repeat the same cycle tomorrow. Their bodies move, but their lives go nowhere. And somewhere deep inside, a voice whispers, "This cannot be the life you were born for. You were not designed to exchange hours for temporary relief. You were meant to build something that grows even when you rest. Wealth that breathes, income that moves, freedom that expands." The shift begins with understanding the power of assets, not just as a financial concept, but as a doorway into a new reality, where your time is no longer a currency you burn, but a resource you direct with intention. You don't need to be rich to enter this reality. You just need the willingness to learn how money behaves, how energy responds to structure, and how your inner patterns either multiply or limit your potential. Everyone has a relationship with money. Some fear it, some chase it, many avoid it. But money is neutral. It does not reward hard work alone. It rewards clarity, direction, and intention. If you've ever wondered why progress feels slow, despite your effort, the reason is simple. You were taught to earn money, not to lead it. This audiobook will teach you the psychology and mechanics behind wealth, how assets grow, how value multiplies, how your inner world shapes your financial world. You will learn the difference between surviving and building, between income and ownership, between working for money and designing systems that make money work for you. Across these chapters, you'll learn to think like a creator, not a consumer. To align your thoughts, emotions, and decisions with long-term wealth. To build assets that pay you forever, automate your income, elevate your standards, and reclaim control over your time and energy. This journey demands honesty, discipline, and patience. But in return, it gives you sovereignty, freedom, peace, a life designed by intention, not reaction. If you're ready to stop surviving and start creating, begin here. What you are about to learn may become the most profitable investment of your life, not because of what you earn, but because of who you become. If you're ready to rise above the noise, like the video, it tells YouTube you're choosing awareness over autopilot. Subscribe now, and don't miss the next chapter in your evolution. And remember, the deepest transformation belongs to those who stay until the very end. Chapter 1. Money, Energy, and True Freedom. If your relationship with money has ever felt confusing, heavy, or unpredictable, it's because most people were never taught what money truly is. They were taught how to chase it, how to spend it, how to fear it, but not how to understand it. And without understanding, money becomes a force that controls you instead of serving you. Money is not just paper, digital numbers, or income. Money is energy. It is direction. It is choice. It is a mirror that reflects the patterns of your inner world, your beliefs, your discipline, your fears, and your clarity. Every financial result in your life is a reflection of how you think, how you respond, and how you guide your decisions. This is why two people with the same income can live completely different financial lives. One multiplies, one loses. The difference is not the money. The difference is the mind and the energy behind it. When you see money only as something to get, you spend your life chasing. When you see money as something you can command, you begin to build. The moment you stop treating money like an unpredictable visitor and start treating it like a tool, your entire life changes. Because money, at its core, is obedient. It follows structure, not emotion. It follows clarity, not chaos. It follows leadership, your leadership. Most people never reach financial freedom because they approach money as a reaction instead of a responsibility. They earn, then they spend. They feel stressed, then they avoid. They hope for more, but they never study the money they already have. They believe their problem is not having enough income, when the real problem is not having enough awareness. You cannot multiply what you do not understand. You cannot lead what you refuse to look at. And you cannot build assets if you treat money like a stranger in your life. The truth is simple. Money has no emotion, no morality, no loyalty. It does not judge you or choose sides. It simply expands the pattern you already live with. If you are careless with a little, you will be careless with a lot. If you are disciplined with a little, you will be disciplined with a lot. Money magnifies what already exists inside you. It is not a personality changer. It is a personality amplifier. This is why wealth begins long before numbers grow. Wealth begins with awareness. Every dollar you earn should have a purpose, a direction, a destination. If you don't guide it, it will disappear silently into impulses, habits, and emotional decisions. When you become aware of where your money goes, you become aware of who you are becoming. Financial awareness is self-awareness, and self-awareness is the foundation of freedom. Money also reveals the difference between value and time. Most people believe they are paid for their hours, but two people can work the same 10 hours and earn completely differently. Time is equal. Value is not. The marketplace does not reward hours. It rewards contribution, skill, creativity, and impact. When you increase your value, money flows toward you more easily. When you stop chasing money and begin building your ability, your perspective shifts from scarcity to possibility. There is also a deeper truth. Money follows order. Chaos destroys wealth. Disorganized finances drain your energy, limit your ability to plan, and keep you stuck in survival mode. But when you create structure, clear categories, intentional spending, consistent saving, your money begins to respect you. Think of every dollar you earn as an employee. If you give your employees no instructions, they will wander off. But if you give each one a task, they will work for you, even while you sleep. Many people unknowingly sabotage their finances through inherited beliefs. Money is evil. Rich people are greedy. Wanting more makes me selfish. These beliefs create invisible ceilings. They push opportunities away. They make you feel guilty for wanting stability or ashamed for wanting wealth. But money is not evil. It simply expands what is already inside you. If you are generous, money makes you more generous. If you are thoughtful, money allows you to help on a bigger scale. Wealth is not greed. Wealth is choice. From a psychological and energetic perspective, guilt and fear around money keep your mind trapped in scarcity. Scarcity triggers your nervous system into survival mode, causing impulsive spending, short-term decisions, and emotional reactions. Abundance shifts your physiology into a state of long-term thinking, creativity, and confidence. This is why gratitude is powerful. When you appreciate what you have, your brain shifts from fear to clarity. You make better decisions because your body no longer feels threatened. Time is also a form of currency, often more valuable than money itself. You can lose money and rebuild it. Time, once spent, is gone forever. The wealthiest people are not those who earn the most. They are the ones who gain control over their time. When you value your time, money begins to value you. Every small action compounds. Reading 30 minutes, saving a small amount, learning a new skill, practicing discipline. Compounding is not just a financial law. It is an energetic one. What you repeat grows. What you ignore decays. There is one final truth you must understand before you move forward. Money wants a leader. It wants someone who directs it with intention, someone who understands its nature, someone who assigns it a purpose. That leader is you. Every dollar you earn is a vote toward your future, toward freedom or toward struggle, toward security or toward chaos, toward growth or toward stagnation. The way you treat money today determines how money treats you tomorrow. And the first step toward building assets that pay you forever is mastering the energy, behavior, and clarity behind every dollar you touch. Chapter 2. Understand how money truly works for you. Most people spend their entire lives trying to make more money without ever stopping to ask the only question that truly matters. What do I understand about the money I already have? This single shift in perspective separates those who struggle from those who grow wealthy. Because money, by its nature, follows understanding. It follows clarity. It follows the person who pays attention, the person who is aware. Every financial breakthrough begins with awareness. Every financial downfall begins with avoidance. When most people earn money, they don't truly direct it. They simply release it. It arrives, it disappears, and they assume the problem is that they don't earn enough. But money does not slip away because of low income. It slips away because of low awareness. If you do not tell your money where to go, it will choose impulse, emotion, and habit as its destination. That is why tracking your money isn't just accounting. It is identity work. It is teaching yourself that your decisions shape your future, not your circumstances. Every dollar you earn contains potential. It can become safety. It can become investment. It can become growth. Or it can become noise, distraction, and regret. One person spends $10 and gains nothing. Another spends the same 10 and multiplies their future. The difference isn't the amount. It's the awareness behind it. Money does not respond to hope. It responds to direction. The world constantly teaches people to chase more, but rarely teaches them to manage what they have. This is why people who win lotteries go broke, and why ordinary individuals who learn discipline can retire early. Money is not kind to the unprepared. It flows towards order, structure, and responsibility. It drains away from chaos, avoidance, and emotional decision-making. When your finances are disorganized, you leak energy. You lose clarity. You make choices from fear. And fear never builds wealth. It destroys it one small decision at a time. Understanding money also means understanding value. Most people believe they get paid for their time, but this is not true. Time is simply the container. Value is the content inside it. Two people can work the same number of hours, but only one brings uncommon value: insight, skill, creativity, reliability, excellence. And the marketplace rewards value, not hours. Hours are infinite. Value is rare. That is why increasing your value is the true path to increasing your wealth. The more you learn, the more you contribute. The more you contribute, the more the world pays attention. And money follows attention. Value is built through study, through curiosity, through skill development, through discipline. Every skill you add becomes another river through which money can flow. Most people underestimate the power of small learning, done consistently. They think growth requires reinvention, but transformation is not dramatic. It is daily. 30 minutes of reading, one new skill each season, small upgrades, compounding knowledge. These invisible choices determine your earning power more than any employer or economy. Another truth of money is that it follows structure. Chaos destroys wealth with silent efficiency, When you do not plan where your money goes, it slips through cracks you don't even know exist. That is why budgeting is not restriction. It is guidance. Saving is not deprivation. It is strategy. Investing is not risk. It is alignment between today's discipline and tomorrow's freedom. Think of your money as employees. If you give them no instructions, they wander. If you guide them with purpose, they work relentlessly on your behalf. To understand money, you must also understand the concept of assets versus liabilities. This distinction shapes destinies. An asset puts money into your pocket, even while you sleep. A liability takes money out of your pocket every day. Most people spend their lives accumulating liabilities disguised as comfort. Expensive cars, oversized homes, new gadgets. They look like wealth, but behave like debt. They feed the ego, but starve the future. True wealth builders invest in things that grow. Knowledge, businesses, real estate, digital products, stocks, systems, and skills that continue producing long after effort stops. Time, too, is a form of currency, and it is the most unforgiving one. You can lose money and recover it. You can lose opportunities and create new ones. But time only moves forward. Every day you waste on distractions, on reactive living, on emotional spending, is a day removed from your future wealth. Wealth builders use time as their ally. Learning, saving, investing, and applying small disciplined actions that compound over years. Compounding is the quiet force behind every fortune. It works slowly, then suddenly. It rewards patience and punishes impulsiveness. And the earlier you start, the more powerful it becomes. Money also responds to the direction of your attention. If you avoid looking at your bank account, your debt, or your spending habits, you give power to the unknown. What you avoid controls you. What you measure, you master. When you study your numbers, even if they scare you, you shift from emotional to strategic. Awareness leads to control. Control leads to better decisions, and better decisions lead to peace. Financial peace is not created by earning more. It is created by knowing exactly what is happening with what you already have. The energetic dimension of money is equally real. Gratitude expands your ability to receive, not because the universe magically sends you cash, but because gratitude moves your nervous system out of scarcity and into clarity. When you think you never have enough, you make desperate decisions. You overspend, you rush, you chase. When you feel appreciation for what you do have, your brain becomes calmer, more creative, more capable of long-term planning. Gratitude opens mental bandwidth. Scarcity closes it. Confidence grows your wealth. Fear shrinks it. And finally, money must circulate. Hoarding kills growth. Saving without purpose creates stagnation. Money is meant to move, to build, to invest, to expand, to support. The goal is to save with intention, not fear. To invest with knowledge, not impulse. To grow your resources, not freeze them. Money multiplies through movement, not through hiding. The person who lets money flow intelligently gains freedom. The person who traps money out of fear remains trapped with it. Understanding money is understanding life. Value, awareness, structure, discipline, emotion, time. When you learn how money works, you stop serving it and it begins serving you. You stop reacting and begin choosing. You stop surviving and start building. Money is not the goal, but it is the tool that allows you to reach every other goal. Freedom, impact, stability, purpose. And once you understand how it works, you can finally begin creating assets that pay you forever. Chapter 3. Rewrite your money programming. Before you can build wealth in the world outside you, you must confront the programming that lives inside you. Every financial decision you make, every purchase, every hesitation, every opportunity you ignore, every risk you take or avoid, is guided not by logic, but by the beliefs you have carried for years. Some of these beliefs came from your family, some from society, some from fear. And many of them are quietly sabotaging your ability to build real wealth. Money beliefs are inherited long before they are examined. As children, you observe the emotions adults have around money: stress, silence, arguments, scarcity, survival, and without realizing it, you absorb their patterns as truth. If you grew up hearing, "Money is hard," "Rich people are selfish," "Money doesn't grow on trees," "We can't afford that," or "Wanting more is greedy," those beliefs didn't disappear when you became an adult. They became your financial autopilot. This autopilot shows up in subtle ways. You earn money but feel guilty keeping it. You want more, but fear being judged. You save, but sabotage yourself with impulse spending. You avoid checking your accounts because it triggers anxiety. You freeze when opportunities appear, even when you know they could change your life. None of this is random. It is programming. And until you rewrite it, your life will repeat patterns you don't consciously choose. One of the most dangerous beliefs people hold is that money changes people. It doesn't. Money reveals them. If you are kind, money gives you more ways to be kind. If you are generous, money magnifies your generosity. If you are selfish, money deepens your selfishness. Money amplifies identity. It does not create it. This is why you must separate your character from your fear. Wealth will not make you bad. Wealth will make you more you. When you understand this, guilt dissolves. You no longer feel ashamed of wanting stability, comfort, or abundance. You stop apologizing for wanting a life where stress is not your daily companion. Another limiting belief is that wanting more is wrong. But wanting more is not greed. Wanting more is growth. Trees grow without guilt. Oceans expand without guilt. Life itself moves toward expansion. You were not meant to shrink yourself to be acceptable. You were meant to expand into your fullest capability, financially, mentally, spiritually. When you suppress your desire for growth, you suppress your life force. When you embrace it, you unlock your potential. Scarcity programming is one of the biggest emotional chains. Scarcity says, "There's not enough." Abundance says, "I can create more." Scarcity makes you panic spend, cling, chase, and collapse. It causes emotional buying, self-sabotage, and fear-driven decisions that cost you far more than money. They cost you opportunities and peace. Abundance does not mean irresponsibility. It means clarity. It means trusting your ability to learn, adapt, earn, and build. It means believing you can figure things out instead of assuming you will fail. One of the fastest ways to shift out of scarcity is gratitude. Not because gratitude magically deposits money into your account, but because it shifts your nervous system out of fear. Fear triggers tunnel vision. Gratitude opens perception. When you are grateful, your brain stops scanning for threats and begins scanning for solutions. You think clearer. You see opportunities you overlooked. You make decisions from stability, not survival. Gratitude raises your inner frequency, and when your frequency rises, your financial behavior elevates with it. Understanding the emotional roots of your spending is equally important. Many people spend money not to enjoy something, but to escape something: boredom, loneliness, insecurity, stress, emptiness. Emotional spending creates momentary relief and long-term regret. You cannot fill an emotional void with a financial decision. When you start observing why you spend, not just what you spend on. You take back power. Awareness dissolves compulsion. You stop reacting and begin choosing. Your money becomes a mirror that shows you what needs healing, not a drug that numbs what you refuse to face. Rewriting your money programming also requires reprogramming the language you use with yourself. "I can't afford this" is a sentence that shuts your brain down. It ends possibility. A stronger sentence is, "How can I afford this in a smart, strategic way?" This sentence opens the mind instead of closing it. It trains your thinking toward creativity instead of limitation. It expands your potential instead of shrinking it. The words you use around money shape your identity around money. Another powerful shift is learning the difference between lack mentality and resourcefulness mentality. Lack mentality says, "There's never enough." Resourcefulness says, "I can create more through action, learning, and value." Lack mentality waits. Resourcefulness builds. Lack hopes. Resourcefulness executes. When you begin to view yourself not as someone who needs money, but as someone who creates value, every financial experience becomes empowering. It is also essential to separate your self-worth from your net worth. Money is a measurement of value you deliver to the world, not a measurement of your worth as a human being. When you stop tying your identity to your financial status, you stop taking money personally. You make better decisions because your ego is no longer involved. You can look at mistakes honestly, adjust quickly, and grow consistently. To rewrite your programming, practice simple, consistent actions. Journaling your money beliefs, observing emotional triggers, shifting your financial language, and applying gratitude before making decisions. This inner work is not soft, it is strategic. Your beliefs create your behaviors. Your behaviors create your results. If you want different results, you must install different beliefs. Changing your money behavior without changing your money identity is impossible. You don't grow wealthy by forcing discipline. You grow wealthy by becoming the kind of person for whom discipline is natural. And the moment your inner programming aligns with your goals, your financial life stops being a battle and becomes a partnership. Money begins responding to you instead of resisting you. Rewrite your programming, and you rewrite your future. Chapter 4. Build assets that grow while you rest. There is a moment in every person's life, usually quiet, usually private, where they realize something undeniable. If I stop working today, everything in my life stops with me. Bills stop being paid. Opportunities stop expanding. Growth stops moving. Safety disappears. And in that moment, a deeper truth reveals itself. If your life depends entirely on your effort, you do not own your future. Your job does. The true shift toward wealth begins the day you stop asking, "How do I earn more money?" and begin asking, "How do I build something that earns money even when I'm not present?" Because income built only on effort dies with exhaustion. But income built on assets lives independently of your energy. One is survival, the other is freedom. An asset is anything you build once that continues to reward you repeatedly. It is effort multiplied, time preserved, and value extended beyond the moment of creation. An asset works when you sleep, when you rest, when you travel, when you are with your family, and even when you are experiencing difficult seasons. It protects you, it stabilizes you, it frees you. Most people were trained to work for money, not to build assets. They were conditioned to exchange hours for income, as if effort were the only resource they owned. But effort is limited. Time is limited. Energy is limited. The only way to create sustainable, lifelong, expanding wealth is to shift from labor to leverage. Leverage is what happens when your past effort continues to pay you in the future. It is the transformation of your time into a system, a product, a skill set, or an investment that now works on your behalf. It is the quiet engine behind every wealthy life. And once you understand it, your entire reality changes. There are many forms of assets: digital assets, online products, ebooks, courses, content libraries, licensing, templates, YouTube channels, blogs, intellectual property. Skill-based assets, consulting systems, knowledge frameworks, methods you can teach or sell. Business assets, e-commerce stores, automated services, affiliate systems, software, brands. Financial assets, stocks, index funds, bonds, dividends, crypto, RADs. Physical assets, rental properties, real estate, equipment that generates income. System assets, teams, automations, workflows, processes that reduce your time and increase your output. Assets allow your life to expand past your physical limits. They let you separate your income from your hours. They give you the ability to step back without losing momentum. The reason most people never build assets is not because they are incapable. It is because they are impatient. Assets grow quietly, slowly, almost invisibly. They don't give dopamine. They don't produce instant gratification. They demand consistency, patience, and long-term thinking. They require you to water seeds that may take months or years to sprout. That is why most people never experience the freedom assets create. They quit before the magic happens. But assets grow like nature. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And then suddenly, everything. Wealth rarely arrives in a straight line. It arrives through compounding, through small actions repeated long enough to produce exponential results. The work you do today might not pay you tomorrow, but it will pay you in a year, in 5 years, in 10. If you are patient, it becomes unstoppable. Ownership is another essential element. When you own assets, you own your future. You own your time. You own your choices. You don't wait for permission, for approval, or for circumstances to open doors. You create doors. You build systems. You design opportunities. Owning assets is not just financial. It is psychological and spiritual. It is the declaration: my life is not controlled by a paycheck. I choose the direction of my time. Choosing the right type of asset depends on your strengths and your season of life. If you have knowledge, turn it into a digital product. If you have creativity, build a brand. If you have savings, invest in financial markets or real estate. If you have skills, systemize them. There is no one right path, but there is one wrong one. Relying only on your effort for the rest of your life. Assets also require alignment. You must choose an asset you can sustain, something that matches your gifts, your lifestyle, and your energy, because alignment creates consistency. Consistency creates momentum. Momentum creates wealth. Emotionally, building assets forces you to confront your relationship with patience. Most people underestimate what disciplined effort can produce in 3 years and overestimate what impulse can give them in 3 months. Wealth is not built through excitement. It is built through endurance. On a deeper level, assets embody the spiritual principle of stored energy. When you build an asset, you are storing your past effort into a structure that continues emitting value. Like a solar panel capturing sunlight, your asset captures the best of you, your knowledge, your skill, your creativity, and converts it into ongoing return. Each asset becomes a part of your energetic legacy, something you created that continues to move forward without you. The truth is simple. If you want freedom, you must shift from spending your time to owning the results of your time. Assets give you back the hours you once wasted surviving. They give you the space to think, to rest, to grow, to pursue passions, to build more. They release you from the constant weight of needing to work to feel safe. An asset is more than a financial tool. It is a doorway into a life where your days belong to you again. A doorway into a future you design instead of one you endure. A doorway into the version of yourself who no longer survives, but builds. Your life will change the moment you ask yourself, what can I build today that will continue paying me for the next decade? Because that is the question that opens the path to lifelong freedom. Chapter 6. Invest in things that build real independence. Independence is not a gift. It is not luck. It is the result of choices built slowly, intentionally, and courageously over time. Real independence is the moment you no longer live at the mercy of circumstances, opinions, or unstable sources of income. It is when your life is supported by structures you built with foresight, discipline, and clarity. And that form of freedom is the highest expression of personal power. Independence begins with understanding that everything you do today is an investment, whether you realize it or not. Your time, your focus, your energy, your habits, your money. Every action is a seed. The question is simply whether those seeds are growing weeds or wealth. The first and most important investment is always yourself. Before you can build independence in the world, you must build independence within your identity. Knowledge, discipline, emotional strength, self-respect, and mental clarity are the foundation of every form of freedom that follows. When you invest in learning, in skills, books, mentors, courses, experience, you are shaping a mind that cannot be taken from you. Job markets can collapse, trends can change, economies can shift, but a mind trained to adapt, learn, and create value will always rebuild. That is why your greatest asset is not money. It is the person you become through consistent growth. Money without understanding is fragile. You can earn it quickly and lose it even faster. Entire fortunes disappear when the owner lacks literacy. That is why financial education is the second pillar of independence. Not advanced math, but the fundamentals. How money works, how to protect it, how to grow it, how to separate emotion from financial decisions, how to build structures that last. Every wise investor understands that information compounds faster than interest. The more you understand, the more confident your decisions become. And confidence is a form of freedom. Independence also grows through the assets you build. Assets that produce cash flow, growth, or stability long after your initial effort. These can be financial assets like stocks or real estate. They can be business assets, digital assets, intellectual property, or systems that generate recurring income. But ownership is essential. A high-paying job can help, but it is not independence. If your income stops the moment you stop working, you are not free. You are rented. Independence requires owning something that works without your constant presence, something that provides stability even in uncertain seasons. The discipline to build assets requires patience. Quick profits may feel exciting, but they do not create security. They do not create legacy. They do not create peace. Wealth, built slowly, strategically, and consistently becomes unshakable. When you reinvest your gains, not just your money, but your knowledge, your time, your improvements, your life begins to compound. Compounding is not only financial, it is behavioral, it is emotional, it is spiritual. Every time you choose growth over comfort, your identity compounds. Every time you delay gratification, your discipline compounds. Every time you invest in your future self, your independence compounds. This is how powerful lives are built, in small decisions repeated with intention. But independence is not only financial. Emotional independence is equally important. If your mood, decisions, or self-worth are controlled by external validation, you are not free. If your peace depends on other people's approval, you are not free. Emotional independence means you understand your own triggers, your own boundaries, your own values. It allows you to make decisions from clarity, not fear, strength, not insecurity. Peace of mind is a form of wealth. The ability to walk away from environments that drain you without guilt or apology is a form of wealth. The courage to choose what supports your growth instead of what satisfies your ego is a form of wealth. These forms of independence build a life that feels stable, both externally and internally. Your relationships are also an investment. The people you surround yourself with either expand your mind or shrink it. They influence your vision, your energy, your standards. That is why relationship discipline matters. Surround yourself with people who think with responsibility, people who believe in growth, not excuses, people who push you to rise, not stay stuck. Independence does not mean doing life alone. It means choosing wisely who you walk with. Another major pillar is diversifying your income. Depending on one paycheck is like standing on one leg. One push, and you fall. Real independence comes when your life is supported by multiple streams, each aligned with your values and long-term vision. It can start simple. One side project, one investment, one online income stream. Slowly, consistently, these become a foundation that cannot be easily shaken. Physical health is also a form of wealth. Without it, independence is impossible. Energy is what fuels clarity, ambition, and resilience. A strong mind inside a weak body suffers. Take care of yourself as if your future depends on it, because it does. Mindset is another essential investment. A weak mindset collapses under difficulty. A strong one adapts, learns, and continues. Cultivating mental strength through reading, reflection, problem-solving, and exposure to new ideas increases your capacity for independence. The mind is the engine behind every level of growth you will ever reach. Independence also requires protecting your time. Time is the only asset you cannot earn back. Most people waste years giving their time to distractions, drama, or meaningless obligations. Set boundaries. Learn to say no. Prioritize activities that support your goals. Time management is self-respect, and self-respect is independence. Adaptability is another investment you cannot ignore. The world changes quickly. Industries transform. Technology evolves. Opportunities shift. Those who stay soft in their thinking remain strong in their independence. Curiosity keeps you relevant. Learning keeps you valuable. Flexibility keeps you free. Integrity is also a major pillar of independence. A life built on shortcuts collapses. A life built on discipline, fairness, and honesty attracts opportunities and relationships that last. When you live by principles, the path becomes clearer. Decisions become easier. Trust becomes your currency. Peace becomes your natural state. Creativity also enhances independence. It is the ability to see possibilities where others see limits. Creativity builds solutions, designs systems, and finds new methods. It is not about being artistic. It is about being resourceful. Creativity makes you adaptable, innovative, and unstoppable in changing times. Above all, independence requires inner alignment. You must know who you are and where you are going. You must build your life from intention rather than reaction. Independence is not the absence of support. It is the presence of strength. It is not isolation. It is clarity. It is not detachment. It is stability. When you invest in independence, you build a life that cannot be taken from you. A life that does not collapse under pressure. A life supported by systems, knowledge, relationships, habits, assets, and character. And one day, you will feel it. A quiet confidence inside you. A sense of stability you've never felt before. A knowing that no matter what the world does, you remain secure because your foundation is not external. It is internal. It is built on wisdom, discipline, and intentional action. That is the freedom most people spend a lifetime chasing. That is the strength that outlives circumstances. That is the independence you earn. One wise decision at a time. Chapter 7. Develop money discipline that never fades away. Money discipline is the invisible force behind every life of stability, confidence, and long-term prosperity. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is not fueled by emotion. Money discipline is quiet, steady, rational, and deeply rooted in self-respect. It is the difference between a life controlled by financial chaos and a life supported by financial clarity. Most people believe wealth is built through high income, lucky opportunities, or exceptional talent. But the truth is simpler. Wealth is built by discipline. The daily choices you make with the money already in your hands. Without discipline, even a large income disappears. With discipline, even a modest income multiplies. Money discipline begins not in your bank account, but in your mind. Your financial life will always mirror your internal life. If you think with clarity, your money behaves with clarity. If you think with chaos, your money behaves with chaos. You cannot control money until you learn to control your thoughts about money. Most people avoid looking at their finances because numbers make them anxious. But avoidance is the seed of financial stress. What you refuse to face gains power over you. What you confront loses its ability to intimidate you. Discipline begins the moment you choose honesty over denial. Knowing your numbers is not judgment. It is awareness. Awareness is not punishment. It is power. Money discipline means you track your income, your expenses, your debts, and your savings regularly. Not obsessively, but consciously. You move from reacting emotionally to deciding intentionally. One of the strongest pillars of discipline is structure. A budget is not restriction. It is direction. It is a roadmap for your future. It tells your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. People who fear budgeting misunderstand it. Budgeting does not take freedom away. It gives freedom back. It frees you from impulse, from overspending, and from the anxiety of uncertainty. When every dollar has a purpose, money begins to work for you instead of escaping from you. Emotional spending is one of the biggest threats to financial independence. People spend to feel better, to distract themselves, to impress others, to avoid boredom or discomfort. But emotions are temporary. Their consequences are not. Every undisciplined purchase steals from your future self. Every intentional purchase strengthens your future self. The disciplined person does one thing consistently. They pause. They wait. They think. They ask, does this move me closer to the life I want, or further away from it? That moment of awareness is one of the most powerful financial tools you will ever use. Saving is another core pillar of discipline. Saving is not about deprivation. It is about preparation. It is the ultimate act of self-respect toward your future. A person who saves consistently experiences a rare form of peace. The peace of knowing that life's uncertainties cannot easily break them. It does not matter how small you start. What matters is that you start. Saving is not measured by the amount, but by the habit. Tiny savings compounded over years become safety, stability, and opportunity. Discipline also means understanding the difference between needs, what keeps you alive and functional, wants, what adds joy when chosen wisely, and distractions, what drains your resources without improving your life. The more clearly you define these categories, the more effortless your financial decisions become. Many people waste years buying approval from others, but true freedom begins when you stop trying to impress strangers and start trying to secure your future. Investing is the stage where money discipline becomes transformative. Investing without discipline is gambling. Investing with discipline is wealth building. A disciplined investor does not chase hype. They do not panic during downturns. They do not jump from trend to trend, seeking instant profit. They understand markets rise and fall, but discipline remains constant. They know the real magic lies in consistency, time, and compounding. Debt management is another expression of discipline. Debt itself is not evil, but careless debt is a trap. Using debt to acquire assets is strategy. Using debt to fund lifestyle is self-sabotage. Discipline means paying off what you owe steadily, responsibly, and without excuses. Every payment is a step toward independence. Every cleared balance is a victory of character over impulse. Automation is one of the most effective ways to protect your discipline. When you automate your savings, investments, and bill payments, you remove emotional interference. You no longer rely on motivation. You rely on systems. And systems do not forget. Systems do not hesitate. Systems do not make emotional decisions. Gratitude is another form of discipline. Gratitude keeps you grounded. It protects you from unnecessary spending. It shields you from comparison and greed. When you appreciate what you have, you stop chasing validation through consumption. You begin making choices based on alignment, not insecurity. Money discipline at its core is self-leadership. It is the ability to say no when your impulses say yes. It is choosing long-term freedom over short-term comfort. It is understanding that the greatest reward is not the purchase. It is the life those choices allow you to build. Systems make discipline sustainable. Daily habits make discipline automatic. Reflection makes discipline lifelong. You will make mistakes. Everyone does. The goal is not perfection. It is progression. Review your choices. Learn from them. Adjust. Continue. That is the rhythm of mastery. As your discipline strengthens, you will notice a shift inside. You'll stop feeling anxious about money. You'll stop comparing yourself to others. You'll stop buying things you don't need. You'll start respecting your future more than your impulses. And one day, quietly, you will realize something profound. Money no longer controls you. You control it. Your discipline becomes your freedom. Your freedom becomes your confidence. Your confidence becomes your wealth. Because in the end, money discipline does not just build your bank account. It builds your character. And character is the kind of wealth that never fades. Chapter 8. Automate your income to escape financial stress. Financial stress is not created by a lack of money. It is created by a lack of structure. When your financial life depends on constant attention, constant effort, and constant decision-making, your mind never rests. You wake up thinking about bills. You go to bed thinking about expenses. You move through your day reacting, calculating, worrying. This is not freedom. It is survival. Automation is the path out of that prison. Automation means building systems that handle the repetitive, predictable, mechanical parts of your financial life, so your mind can return to clarity, creativity, and purpose. Automation transforms discipline from something you struggle to maintain into something that happens naturally, quietly, without requiring your willpower. Think of automation as the shift from manual labor to energetic leverage, from stress to structure, from reaction to design, from financial chaos to financial peace. Most people live paycheck to paycheck, not because they lack the ability to earn, but because their money arrives with no plan. It enters their life and immediately scatters, spent impulsively, emotionally, or unconsciously. When money has no structure, it behaves like chaos. When money has a system, it behaves like power. The goal of automation is simple: remove emotion from financial decisions and replace it with systems that operate perfectly, even when you're tired, busy, or stressed. Systems don't panic. Systems don't forget. Systems don't get tempted. Systems don't collapse under pressure. Systems protect you from the weakest parts of your habits. Automation begins with clarity, knowing what comes in, what goes out, and where your money needs to flow. Not vaguely, not in your head, but clearly, visually, consciously. Awareness breaks anxiety. Anxiety thrives in avoidance. Once you understand your cash flow, you design a structure, a system for saving, a system for bills, a system for investing, a system for spending, a system for growth. Each system becomes a financial channel, and automation ensures that your money flows through these channels without needing your constant involvement. The first major automation is paying yourself first, not last, not if something is left, not when things calm down. Automation means that the moment money enters your account, a portion of it moves into savings or investments before you ever have the chance to spend it. This single action alone separates people who struggle financially from people who grow financially. Even 10% automated consistently is more powerful than 50% decided manually. The second automation is bill payment. Missed payments, late fees, and mental clutter are symptoms of a disorganized system. Automating your fixed bills ensures your financial life runs like a machine. It removes decision fatigue and eliminates the hidden leaks that drain wealth over time. Automation is not neglect. Automation is efficiency. You still monitor, but you don't micromanage. Once savings and bills are automated, the next step is investment automation. Many people postpone investing because they fear they don't know enough, or because the process feels overwhelming. But automation removes that barrier. Automatic recurring contributions to index funds, retirement accounts, or other long-term investments allow your future to grow steadily, quietly, and mathematically. This is the heart of compounding. Slow at first, unstoppable later. Automation makes compounding inevitable. Automation can also be applied to income creation. When you build digital products, affiliate systems, evergreen content, or online services that run without your daily involvement, you create income that flows even when you rest. Automation turns your past effort into ongoing return. This is not passive income in the fantasy sense. It is scaled income, leveraged income, intelligent income, income where 1 hour of work pays you for hundreds of hours afterward. Automation also protects your mental energy. Every day, people are exhausted, not because they worked too hard, but because they made too many decisions. Decision fatigue leads to poor judgment, emotional spending, avoidance, and inconsistency. Automation removes dozens of unnecessary decisions from your life. When your money moves where it should, without your involvement, your mind becomes free to focus on creation instead of correction. Simplification is essential for automation. Too many accounts, subscriptions, or fragmented financial tools create confusion. Automation works best in a clean environment. Consolidate where possible. Cancel what you don't use. Create a streamlined structure where every transaction has purpose. Separate your personal and business finances. Mixed accounts create chaos, confusion, and stress. Automation requires order, and order requires separation. Technology makes automation accessible to everyone. Use banking tools, budgeting apps, investment platforms, and digital calendars to support your systems. But remember, technology is not a replacement for awareness. It is an assistant. You remain the architect. Automation is your construction crew. As your systems run, you must still review them monthly. Automation plus awareness. Mastery. Automation without awareness. Drift. A quick review ensures that your systems remain aligned with your goals and allows you to adjust as your life expands. Emotionally, automation creates peace. A peace few people ever experience. A peace that comes from knowing your future is consistently being built, even when you're resting, traveling, or simply living your life. A peace that comes from structure, replacing fear. A peace that allows creativity to flourish again. At some point, you will notice a shift. You no longer worry about bills. You no longer panic at the end of the month. You no longer feel the dread of financial uncertainty. Your systems become your safety. Your automation becomes your stability. Your stability becomes your confidence. This is the psychological transformation automation creates. A deep sense of control, a quiet strength that comes from knowing your financial life does not collapse if you have one tired week, one low-energy month, or one difficult season. Because your systems protect you, because your discipline is embedded in code, because your future is no longer random, it is designed. Automation is not about avoiding work. It's about elevating your work. It's about freeing your time, your energy, and your mind, so you can focus on the activities that expand your income instead of maintaining the activities that sustain it. This is how you escape financial stress, not by earning more, not by working harder, but by structuring your life with intention so your money operates with intelligence even when you're not watching. Automation is the beginning of financial peace. Financial peace is the beginning of mental clarity. Mental clarity is the beginning of wealth creation. Build your systems once. Refine them often. Let them work forever. Chapter 9. Think like a creator, not a consumer. The greatest difference between those who build wealth and those who never escape financial struggle is not intelligence, education, or background. It is mindset. Specifically, the mindset of a creator versus the mindset of a consumer. A consumer reacts. A creator initiates. A consumer looks at the world and asks, "What can I get?" A creator looks at the world and asks, "What can I build?" This shift, from taking value to producing value, is the single most transformative leap you can make in your financial and personal life. Consumers live in a loop of temporary desires. Spend, enjoy, repeat. Creators live in a cycle of expanding value. Build, contribute, multiply. Every business, every invention, every book, every system that generates wealth exists because someone decided to create instead of consume. That decision is what separates those who struggle from those who rise. Thinking like a creator begins with awareness. Most people don't realize how deeply conditioned they are to consume. They scroll, Watch, buy, follow, refresh, constantly absorbing and rarely producing. Consumption is passive. It drains energy. It weakens identity. It keeps the mind in a state of reaction rather than direction. But the moment you shift into creation, your energy changes. You become active, intentional, alive. You initiate instead of waiting. You design instead of drifting. You lead instead of following. Creators see problems not as burdens, but as opportunities. Consumers complain. Creators build solutions. Consumers adapt to the world. Creators reshape it. This doesn't require genius. It requires perspective. Every frustration in your life is a seed for creation. Every inefficiency is a blueprint for a solution. Every limitation is an invitation to innovate. Creators move through life asking, how could this be improved? What can I design that helps others? How can I turn my skills into something useful? That single question can lead to a business, a product, a service, a career, a movement, or a legacy. To think like a creator, you must also shift how you learn. Consumers learn for entertainment. Creators learn for execution. A consumer reads a book and thinks, that was interesting. A creator reads a book and thinks, how can I use this? When you begin applying what you learn, even in small ways, you convert information into transformation. You become someone who grows through intention, not osmosis. Creators also use time differently. Instead of spending hours reacting to content, they spend minutes producing something of their own. A post, a design, a video, a note, a plan, a product, a piece of insight. Creation compounds. Every small act of production increases your skill, your confidence, your clarity, and your opportunities. Creation is identity building. Money behaves differently depending on your mindset as well. Consumers spend money to feel something, relief, status, pleasure. Creators spend money to multiply something, skill, systems, capacity, impact. A camera is an expense for a consumer. It's an asset for a creator. A laptop is entertainment for a consumer. It's production for a creator. Education is optional for a consumer. It's fuel for a creator. Creators don't ask, how can I spend less? They ask, how can I make this tool pay for itself many times over? Creators understand leverage. The more value you produce, the more your systems, tools, platforms, and processes can scale that value beyond your physical limitations. One idea can reach millions. One product can serve thousands. One message can travel globally. That is exponential power, creator power. Consistency is another part of creator thinking. Consumers depend on mood. Creators depend on commitment. You create even when you don't feel like it. You show up even when the world is silent. You build even when results are slow. This is how creators become unstoppable. They rely on discipline instead of emotion. Failure also looks different through a creator's eyes. To a consumer, failure is discouraging. To a creator, failure is information. Failure is feedback. Failure is refinement. Failure is proof that action was taken. And action is the only path to mastery. Creators do not fear failure because they understand it is part of the creative cycle. Every attempt sharpens clarity. Every experiment strengthens skill. Every misstep points toward a better step. Your environment influences your creator potential. Consumption-heavy environments weaken your thinking. Creation-focused environments expand it. Surround yourself with people who build, people who write, design, innovate, teach, lead, and experiment. Their energy will elevate your own. Their pace will raise your standards. Their growth will activate your growth. Most importantly, creators trust their unique voice. Consumers compare. creators express. Your perspective, your story, your style. These are not limitations. They are your advantage. No one can replicate your lived experience, your worldview, or your creative signature. When you build from authenticity, your work resonates deeply with others. People don't fall in love with perfection. They connect with originality. Creation requires courage. The moment you produce something, you open yourself to judgment. But creators understand a truth that consumers often forget. The only people who never get criticized are the ones who never create. Courage becomes your fuel. Progress becomes your protection. Consistency becomes your shield. Long-term thinking is what solidifies creator identity. Consumers chase trends. Creators build legacy. A consumer thinks about today's pleasure. A creator thinks about tomorrow's impact. Legacy-driven thinking shapes how you use your time, money, and focus. It teaches you to build things that last. Systems, assets, communities, ideas, platforms. Daily creation is the simplest way to strengthen the creator mindset. One valuable output per day, no matter how small, compounds over time into mastery and momentum. Creation builds identity. Identity builds results. Creators also understand scale. One idea becomes content. Content becomes a system. A system becomes a product. A product becomes a business. A business becomes a legacy. Consumers think in linear gains. Creators think in exponential returns. Eventually, something remarkable happens. The urge to consume fades. The need to compare fades. The feeling of scarcity fades. You become too busy building to be distracted by noise. You create your own standards. You live from intention, not imitation. And one day, you wake up with a deep sense of empowerment, not because you bought something, but because you built something. Something meaningful, something valuable, something that outlives the moment. Creators shape the world. Consumers live in the world creators built. And you were born to build. Chapter 10. Design a life that matches your future, not your past. Most people live inside a life they did not consciously design. A life shaped by old habits, inherited beliefs, outdated expectations, and choices made when they were a different version of themselves. Their present is governed by their past, and their future becomes nothing more than an extension of yesterday. But true transformation begins the moment you decide, my life will be built by who I am becoming, not by who I used to be. This is the foundation of intentional living. This is the birth of a new identity. This is the point where your future finally gains authority over your past. Designing a life that aligns with your future requires one powerful shift. Stop living from memory and start living from vision. Memory keeps you repeating. Vision keeps you expanding. Your past is familiar, but it is not your destiny. Your habits are comfortable, but they are not your potential. Your old identity is safe, but it is not your future. To build a life that reflects your true capacity, you must become a visionary of your own existence. Someone who sees the life they want and begins shaping every day around that picture. A powerful future starts with clarity, not vague intentions, not, one day I want to be rich, but a sharply defined picture of the life you are moving toward. What does your ideal day look like? How do you think? Where do you live? What kind of work do you do? What income supports your lifestyle? What habits support your energy? What standards protect your peace? What environments elevate your ambition? Who do you allow into your life? And who do you release? Without clarity, you drift. With clarity, you build. Your environment is the first area that must evolve. Your room, your workspace, your habits, your digital spaces. All these areas feed your mind. If your environment was built for your past self, it will block your future. A chaotic environment produces a chaotic mind. A purposeful environment produces a powerful mind. If you want to think like your future self, you must live in spaces that reflect that future. Clean, intentional, organized, inspiring. Your environment is a form of self-respect, and wealth never grows in environments built on neglect. Your habits must evolve next. Your future cannot be built using your past routines. Routines sculpt identity. Identity dictates behavior. Behavior shapes destiny. Ask yourself, what habits support the life I want? What habits sabotage it? What habits must end today? What habits must begin today? Replace distraction with focus. Replace reactivity with planning. Replace mindless consumption with deliberate creation. Replace excuses with execution. Replace emotional spending with disciplined saving. Replace self-doubt with self-direction. Your habits either pull you into your future or chain you to your past. Your standards are another critical pillar. Your future self has standards. Boundaries around time, energy, relationships, finances, and self-care. Your past self tolerated things your future self would never accept. Every time you raise your standards, your life elevates. Every time you lower your standards, your life declines. You cannot design a great life with weak standards. You cannot build a wealthy life with broke habits. You cannot create a peaceful life with chaotic environments. To design your future, you must also understand alignment. Alignment means your actions match your goals. Many people say they want success while living a lifestyle that produces the opposite. They want wealth, but resist discipline. They want growth, but remain comfortable. They want change, but cling to familiar patterns. Alignment demands honesty. Ask yourself daily, do my actions reflect the life I want? If not, adjust, without drama, without delay. Designing a future-driven life also requires letting go. Letting go of relationships that drain you. Letting go of the identity you outgrew. Letting go of opportunities that no longer align. Letting go of the guilt that comes from choosing yourself. Letting go of the version of you that tolerated too little and settled too often. Letting go is not loss. It is liberation. Your inner world must evolve too. The thoughts you entertain, the beliefs you reinforce, the expectations you carry, the way you speak to yourself. Your inner narrative becomes your outer reality. If your thoughts are rooted in fear, your life will reflect avoidance. If your thoughts are rooted in scarcity, your life will reflect limitation. If your thoughts are rooted in expansion, your life will reflect opportunity. Speak like the person you are becoming. Think like the person you are becoming. Act like the person you are becoming. Protect your mind like the person you are becoming. Identity is a choice, not a prison. You can update it. You can rewrite it. You can rebuild it. Designing a future-driven life also means prioritizing your energy. Your energy determines your productivity, your confidence, your creativity. A tired mind settles for survival. A refreshed mind builds destiny. Protect your sleep. Fuel your body. Move daily. Give your brain clarity. Success is not built on burnout. It is built on alignment. Financial structure is another core component. Your future cannot be built on random spending, inconsistent planning, or fear-based decisions. Your financial system must support your goals through automation, saving, investing, and asset building. Every financially strong future is built on clarity, not chaos. And finally, designing your future requires courage. Courage to step into the unknown. Courage to try. Courage to fail forward. Courage to grow beyond what your past believes is possible. Your past is loud because it has evidence. Your future is quiet because it is still being built. But the quiet voice is the one that leads you toward a life you have never lived before. You do not need permission to evolve. You do not need approval to rise. You do not need validation to change direction. You only need one decision: to let your future lead your present. When your life is built from vision instead of memory, everything changes. Your habits, your income, your relationships, your opportunities, your sense of purpose, your inner peace. You were not meant to repeat your past. You were meant to design your future, boldly, intentionally, and without apology. Chapter 11. Elevate your financial standards and never lower them again. Your financial life does not rise to your goals. It rises to your standards. Goals express what you want. Standards dictate what you accept. And the truth is simple. Most people have goals that reach for the sky, but standards that live in the basement. They say they want stability, but accept chaos. They say they want wealth, but tolerate behaviors that guarantee struggle. They say they want expansion, but continue living with the habits, people, and environments that shrink them. Your financial standards are the boundaries you set around your money, your time, your energy, and your environment. They define what you tolerate and what you refuse. They shape every decision you make, consciously or unconsciously. Raising your standards is not about perfection. It is about declaring, "I will no longer participate in the patterns that hold me back." Everything changes the day you stop making excuses for behaviors that harm your future. Raising your standards begins with self-respect. You cannot build a strong financial life from a foundation of self-neglect. When you respect your future, your decisions transform. You stop treating money casually. You stop spending impulsively. You stop tolerating financial instability as if it is normal. People with high financial standards don't wait for emergencies to start preparing. They build safety before they need it. They invest before they feel ready. They plan before life forces them to. They understand that discipline is not punishment. It is protection. Your standards must evolve around how you earn. If you accept underpayment, emotional burnout, or environments that drain your potential, your financial reality will reflect that. High standards mean you stop undervaluing your skills. You stop tolerating careers that suffocate your growth. You stop giving your best to situations that give you nothing in return. You begin moving toward opportunities that match your capacity, not your comfort zone. Your standards must also evolve around how you spend. Low standards say, "I buy whatever I feel like." High standards say, "I buy in alignment with who I am becoming." People with strong standards don't sabotage their future with emotional purchases. They don't buy validation. They don't chase trends. They choose with intention, not impulse. Financial maturity shows up in small, quiet decisions. The ones nobody sees but your future self always feels. Your standards must evolve around saving and investing. High standards mean you save consistently, not occasionally. You invest regularly, not when it's convenient. You protect your long-term goals from short-term desires. You don't chase hype. You don't gamble. You don't delay planning for a better time. The better time is created by the discipline you apply today. Your standards must evolve around your relationships. Some people drain your ambition, dismiss your goals, or normalize financial chaos. Others elevate your thinking, encourage discipline, and invest in themselves. Your financial standards include who you allow to influence you. A person who normalizes irresponsibility will normalize it for you. A person who lives small will make you feel guilty for growing. A person who fears money will project that fear onto your decisions. Surround yourself with people who treat growth as normal, not rare. Your standards must evolve around your environment. Chaos produces chaos. Order produces clarity. Where you live, how you organize your space, what you see daily, these shape your mental and financial behavior. A cluttered environment drains your discipline. An intentional environment strengthens it, and your standards must evolve around your self-talk. Low standards tolerate, "I'm not good with money. I'll figure it out later. I hope things improve. I'll start when I earn more." High standards replace them with, "I lead my finances. I build stability. I create opportunities. I start now, even if I start small." Your language reflects your identity. Your identity shapes your future. Raising your standards also means refusing to revert. Most people elevate for a moment, but collapse under pressure and return to their old patterns. That is because their standards never became their identity. They were temporary efforts, not permanent expectations. A standard becomes permanent when you make it non-negotiable, not sometimes. Not when life is easy. Not when motivation is high, but always. The moment you treat your standards as sacred, your life begins to rearrange itself around them. You attract better opportunities. You make sharper decisions. You lose interest in anything beneath your potential. You stop settling for less than you can create. Raising your financial standards does something profound. It rewires your sense of what is possible. You begin expecting more from yourself, and in return, life expects more from you. But here is the key. Your standards must rise before your circumstances do. Not after you earn more. Not after life becomes easier. Not after you feel ready. Standards create circumstances, not the other way around. Raise your standards, and you raise the floor of your life. Raise your standards, and you elevate the decisions that shape your future. Raise your standards, and you upgrade your relationship with money, energy, and self-worth. Wealth is not built by chance. It is built by choosing higher standards and refusing to betray them. And the moment you choose to never lower your standards again, you become impossible to break. Financially, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Chapter 12. Master Patience. The skill that builds quiet fortunes. In a world addicted to speed, patience becomes a superpower. Most people want results instantly, money instantly, success instantly, recognition instantly. But anything that arrives quickly also disappears quickly. Fast success is fragile. Fast money is unstable. Fast achievements rarely sustain themselves. Real wealth, financial, emotional, spiritual, personal, is built quietly, slowly, steadily. It grows beneath the surface long before it becomes visible to the world. It compounds in silence. It strengthens through consistency. It matures through discipline. Patience is not waiting. Patience is the ability to remain committed long enough for your effort to bear fruit. Every person you admire has mastered the power of patience. Not passive waiting, but active, intentional persistence. They chose the long-term path when everyone else chose shortcuts. They kept building when others got bored. They kept improving when others chased trends. That is why their success lasts. Impatience is expensive. It pushes you into impulsive decisions. It drives you to compare your journey to others. It convinces you that slow progress means failure. It makes you abandon strategies that were working, simply because the results were not immediate. Impatience kills more dreams than failure ever will. Patience, however, is the foundation of wealth. It allows you to survive the seasons where results are invisible. It keeps you disciplined when the reward hasn't arrived yet. It trains your mind to delay gratification, the core requirement for financial growth. Most people do not struggle because they are incapable. They struggle because they cannot stay consistent long enough to experience the compounding effect of their actions. Savings grow slowly before they grow significantly. Investments rise quietly before they rise dramatically. Skills develop subtly before they explode into opportunity. Businesses gain momentum silently before they gain recognition publicly. Patience is the bridge between planting and harvesting. It requires emotional intelligence, the ability to manage frustration, doubt, and the temptation to quit. Without emotional intelligence, impatience takes control. It pushes you into overspending, abandoning habits, chasing distractions, or seeking short-term rewards that sabotage long-term freedom. To master patience, you must understand the natural rhythm of growth. Everything in nature follows a pattern: seed, root, growth, expansion, harvest. Not seed, harvest, rest. Not desire, result, reward. Growth requires unseen effort long before visible progress. Patience does not mean inaction. It means intelligent action, repeated steadily over time. Ask yourself, what small actions can I take daily that will compound over months and years? Those actions, reading, saving, investing, creating, practicing, improving, are where real transformation happens. Patience also protects you from emotional decisions. Markets rise and fall. Opportunities fluctuate. Your own motivation changes. But discipline guided by patience keeps you stable. You do not panic when life becomes uncertain. You do not chase when things appear exciting. You do not abandon your path because someone else seems further ahead. Patience gives you perspective. Your journey is your own. Your timing is your own. Your growth is your own. Comparison loses its power when you embrace your timeline. Patience is also a spiritual discipline. It teaches surrender, not weakness, but trust. Trust in your work. Trust in your growth. Trust in the compounding force of your habits. Trust that what you build today will reward you tomorrow. Trust that slow does not mean stagnant. It means sustainable. Impatience often comes from scarcity thinking, the fear that time is running out, that opportunities are limited, that others will succeed before you do. But abundance thinking says, there is room for me. There is time for me. My life is unfolding at the pace required for my development. From that mindset, patience becomes natural. Patience is also tied to identity. When you see yourself as someone who finishes what they start, patience is easy. When you see yourself as someone who quits, impatience takes over. Identity shapes endurance. To build a patient identity, start small. Commit to finishing simple tasks. Commit to showing up every day. Commit to improving 1% at a time. Commit to long-term thinking. Commit to mastering the boring, unglamorous tasks that build real foundations. Over time, patience becomes your default, not because you learned it, but because you became it. Patience also influences your relationships with money, opportunities, and success. A patient person does not jump into get-rich-quick schemes. They do not chase rewards driven by excitement. They do not sabotage themselves through inconsistency. They understand that real wealth grows like a tree, silently, slowly, but powerfully. A tree does not grow by stretching faster. It grows by strengthening its roots. Patience is the strengthening of your roots. Eventually, something incredible happens. Your savings begin compounding. Your investments begin accelerating. Your skills begin expanding. Your discipline becomes automatic. Your momentum becomes undeniable. From the outside, it looks sudden. To you, it feels earned. This is what quiet fortunes look like. Not loud, not dramatic, not instant, but inevitable. Patience also grants you a rare emotional advantage: peace. Peace with your timeline, peace with your progress, peace with the fact that success does not need to be rushed, peace with the understanding that nothing truly meaningful is built quickly. When you master patience, you no longer chase life. You build it. You no longer panic through difficulty. You grow through it. You no longer abandon your future for momentary comfort. You protect it. The world rewards those who can do what others cannot. Stay consistent long enough to win. Patience is not slow. Patience is strategic. Patience is strength. Patience is power. Patience is the soil where all wealth, financial, personal, spiritual, takes root. Master patience and every other skill becomes easier. Master patience and every long-term goal becomes achievable. Master patience, and you become unstoppable. Your life will not change because of chance. It will change because of choice. Because you decided to stop repeating the patterns shaped by fear, and finally step into the identity built for your future. Everything you want, stability, wealth, peace, confidence, begins with one truth: you are the source of your transformation. Throughout this journey, you've learned how money works, how your mind shapes your behavior, how discipline builds freedom, how assets grow while you rest, how passion becomes profit, how automation protects your future, and how high standards elevate your entire life. But knowledge means nothing without consistent action. Wealth is not created by intensity. It is created by quiet, steady repetition. The world will tell you to rush, but long-term success belongs to the patient. The world will tempt you with shortcuts, but real independence belongs to those who build foundations instead of fantasies. You now know the rules of growth: focus over noise, structure over chaos, creation over consumption, discipline over impulse, identity over comfort. Now, you stand at a crossroads. One path leads back to the familiar, the life shaped by old habits, old stories, and old limits. The other path leads to the future you were designed to live, a future built through intention, clarity, and uncompromising standards. Choose the path that honors your potential. Choose the daily actions that compound quietly. Choose the identity that matches the life you want. Your freedom is not something you find. It is something you build, brick by brick, decision by decision, day by day. You are no longer the person who settles. You are the architect of your financial destiny. Go build the life only you can build. If this audiobook gave you even one moment of clarity, share it with someone who might need the same pause. And subscribe, so next time, calm finds you first.